Digital ID is the biggest step towards the surveillance state this country has ever faced in my lifetime. If any government wants access to every detail of your life, they are the ones who should be feared. We live in a country where the state can't even run a basic IT system without losing data or leaking personal details. It won't last a week before a mountain of sensitive personal data is left at a bus stop in Kent again. I do not trust any government. I certainly do not trust this government. And let us remember, once government gets a new power, it never gives it back. It expands and evolves. Digital ID will not stop at proving who you are. It will creep into travel, banking, housing, benefits, even voting. Today it's voluntary, tomorrow it will be required for security reasons. The day after that, you won't be able to access basic services without it, all for your own good, remember. Britain is supposed to be a country where the government serves the people, not the other way around. A country built on privacy, liberty and trust. British people just want the government to leave them alone and get out of their lives, to build a business, raise a family and live in peace. Digital ID treats every citizen as a suspect. It assumes that the state has the right to look over your shoulder. You defend it by severely limiting the power of the state, not radically expanding it. Abolishing jury trials, cancelling elections, implementing facial recognition, and now this. This incoming dystopian future must be resisted. I will be holding my own protest against this creeping move towards George Orwell's Animal Farm. I will simply not comply. I will not be downloading a digital ID. I urge other MPs to commit to do the same. The solution is obvious. I'll just have to reinvest in a Nokia. I preferred the simplicity of it anyway. The sound people of Great Yarmouth do not want digital ID. Thank you.
Rupert Lowe's fiery denunciation of the digital ID proposal taps directly into a growing public unease about state overreach. His argument isn't just about technology, it's about trust, power, and the creeping erosion of civil liberty. Lowe frames digital ID as a gateway to a surveillance state, warning that once government acquires a new tool to monitor its citizens, it never relinquishes that power. He highlights a glaring contradiction. The same government that routinely loses USB sticks, mismanages its systems, and leaks sensitive data is now asking the public to hand over even more personal information. Lowe argues that digital ID won't remain a simple verification tool. It will inevitably expand into travel restrictions, banking access, welfare, and even voting rights. For him, this is less policy than a philosophical tipping point, whether Britain remains a nation where the government serves the people, or becomes one where citizens must seek permission to live ordinary lives. His refusal to comply, paired with a public call for resistance, reflects a broader political moment, rising skepticism toward centralized control, and a renewed demand for meaningful limits on state power.
The government has been encouraged to delay its ban on petrol and diesel cars as the EU reportedly prepares to push back its ban from 2035 until 2040. The Eurocrats' decision to extend the deadline is allegedly a result of robust lobbying efforts from the car industry. Although British factories export around 3/4 of their cars, Europe is the largest market, manufacturers will still be required to meet the UK's electric vehicle targets, possibly forcing them to operate separate production lines for domestic and overseas markets, increasing costs and inefficiencies. Is it time those in power accepted that the net zero agenda has failed and let the consumer decide what it wants rather than eco-zealot ideologues? Well, my panel is still with me, Sir John Redwood and Matthew Stadlen. Matthew, will we all just go and buy our cars in Northern Ireland? Because under the Windsor framework, the ban won't come in Northern Ireland until it does in the EU.
I'm still fuming from our previous exchanges, but I'll move on and let's talk about electric cars. My friend is actually driving for the first time today to the Highlands of Scotland in an electric vehicle and is very pleased with the experience.
Has he got there yet?
Almost. I myself...
How many pauses for recharging?
I think he says you have to do 2 from London to the Highlands, half an hour each, but you need to do a P from now and again when you're on a long journey. I don't.
It doesn't take that long.
No, it doesn't. I don't drive an electric car myself, just to put my cards on the table. But the idea that we aren't all going to move towards electric cars inevitably is just complete fantasy.
Well, then why do you need a ban if everybody's going to do it?
You're trying to encourage greater speed.
Yeah, you don't really believe they're going to. That's why you have to ban them. If they were very popular and cheaper and better, you wouldn't need any bans at all. And because they're not, the ban is outrageous.
I'm making a broader point,
damaging our industry, deindustrialising, and it's saying to the consumers, we don't trust you, you're going to have to do what we say.
I haven't even finished my point yet.
No, but this is a very strong point.
We can argue around the fringes of the timing, and the Tories knocked it back to 2035 after Boris Johnson made it 2030. I think Labour brought it back, didn't they, to 2030. And now there's a question mark about whether it should be pushed back to 2040 because of what Europe may be doing. But
2040 means it's not going to happen.
It may well not happen. What I'm trying to say is that we will inevitably, everyone in the not too distant future, be driving electric cars, and we because that is the direction of travel. There are always Luddites. Let me just make a point. There are always Luddites throughout history. History is littered with examples of people resisting change, but change is inevitable.
All right, you say inevitable, but the internal combustion engine is enormously efficient. Petrol is a very efficient fuel. Your conversion of fuel into energy is much more efficient than a battery because you've had to generate the power miles away, you've then had to transmit it, you've then had to store it. Yeah. So efficient use of energy is much, much higher.
Are you seriously saying that the environmental costs of petrol and diesel cars are lower than electric cars? Is that what you're seriously saying?
Well, you generate a lot of CO2 if you have gas-fired electricity to recharge your car, which is the position in Britain. If you added an extra car to the grid at the moment, they'd have to burn more gas. How does that help?
Where it originates from gas-powered energy, clearly electric cars are not going to solve the climate crisis on their own. You need to try to move away from gas.
But we don't have a climate crisis anyway.
No, Jacob. How can someone who is a knight of the realm, who held very distinguished offices
including
of state in this country, seriously tell the viewers on a national television show that we don't have a climate crisis? The temperature are going up, and they are going up partly because of us. And if
because of us.
And if they continue to, you curl your lip. And if they continue to go up at the rate that they're going up, we will find very serious consequences. Try and go live in America in the summer. Try and go and live in America in the summer.
I will, because they've all got air conditioning. It's beautiful.
So there is a climate crisis, but the answer to it is air conditioning. I'd rather live in a world without air conditioning.
Air conditioning makes all sorts of temperatures livable. A slightly warmer world actually increases the ability to grow food in certain areas, and more people die, as you know, each year from cold than from heat.
This is
but also
anti-science.
It's not all this is
coming
true.
From a highly intelligent person, I'm gobsmacked.
But the key
there
point,
is no climate crisis. You're seriously saying that with a straight face?
There's no climate crisis. If we all switch to electric cars, we make no difference at all to what is happening to the climate. What we have to do is adapt to the climate, which is what mankind has always done.
So if we need to adapt to the climate, why do we need to adapt to the climate if there's no climate crisis?